Hello everybody, my name is Rory and welcome back to Firebeard Outdoors. I'm just making this sort of video as an intermediate. I'm really looking forward to being able to go camping again. That's what I want to share with you most. I want to get out on a camping trip, an overnighter, so I can see what I get up to. I also want to do some various challenges while camping, sort of with limited equipment like no shelter, no sleeping bag, or just an axe, or things like that. But I have to wait for lockdown to ease up before I can do that. So in the meantime, I'm just going to do a series of little kit videos. So I'm going to do various ones. I'm going to do ones on shelters, packs, cooking equipment, and today's one is going to be on knives, axes and saws. Right, so this box is where I keep all my knives. It's a good little... I got this box earlier in December. It was a mead collection in there, but I've now reused it and it's now got all my knives in. So I'm going to go through each knife individually, tell you what they're good for and what they're not for, a bit of detail about them. So I've got my big knives in this segment, my sort of medium knives here, and my smaller knives in this section. Okay, so the first knives I'm going to go through is my smaller knives. The first one I'm going to show you, this is the Mora Eldris. It's a little 3-inch blade, and it is a brilliant knife. This is really good for little tasks, cutting wood, cutting string, carving wood, and I use it mainly for starting a fire, because with a fire steel it can create a spark. It's very good for that. So there's the Mora. The next knife I'm going to show you is the Opinel. This is a French knife. I've got the Opinel No.8 in carbon steel. I would prefer to have got it in stainless steel because I use this for food preparation only. This is, I always take different knives for different purposes. So here is the Opinel. It's a foldable knife and it locks, has a neck fastener here that locks it in place. So it is very good. It's got a flat edged profile, which means it's just a triangular profile, and that's very good for cutting through meat. So I use this for cleaning fish and other meat. But the only problem is at the joint it does collect a lot of grease and liquids, and that's where it can rust and it can make the blade quite stiff. But if you had stainless steel you wouldn't have as much of an issue with that. So that's the Opinel. Right, so now I'm going to move on to my medium sized knives. So the first ones I'm going to show you are these two, and both of these are Mora Companions. Now these are very good knives for when you're starting out in bushcraft. These are very cheap. You can get them on Amazon for a very low price. I'll stick a link in the description for all of these knives. But they come in two varieties. The first one, which I use probably most, is the stainless steel, and the second is the carbon steel. Now I haven't used this carbon steel knife in a while, and as you can see the blade is very rusted. However, what I'm going to do is show another video in a short while about knife maintenance, sharpening knives, and as well as dealing with rust. So I've left this like this for a reason, so I can show you how to fix that. So yeah, but these are Scandinavian knives, Swedish. They are designed in the style of the old Puko knives, which I'll show you in a second. They have what's called a Scandinavian grind, which you can see here. This shape is called a Scandi grind. A Scandinavian, or Scandi, is the nickname for it, which is basically straight edge and then it triangles at the top. So as opposed to a flat edge where it's a straight profile all the way to the end. That means it's very good for carving wood, and it means it's good for splitting wood as well. Difference between carbon steel and stainless. Carbon steel is good for keeping a refined edge, so it's good. It's easier to sharpen. However, it does rust. Stainless steel doesn't rust as easily, but isn't as easy to sharpen. So those are the Moras, and what I'm going to show you is a similar. This is a traditional Puko knife. I got this at an old army surplus store in Salisbury a couple of years ago, and this knife has the same Scandinavian grind blade and a lovely wooden handle. It's very nice grip and very nice to use. So yeah, that's the Puko. And just an additional one that looks like this. I don't really use this that much, but this is a Finnish Martini, J Martini. I got this again years ago. As said, they have the same Scandinavian grind. Finnish, Swedish. All very good knives. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my bigger knives. The first one I've got is this is a British knife. It's by a company called Anglo Arms. This is a good stainless steel knife. I used this knife last year to gut, skin and butcher an entire deer. So I did it all with this knife alone. It's good for that. It's very thin blade for cutting meat, and it's got a curved edge, which is good for skinning. It's good for keeping the skin away from the meat. So yeah, that's the Anglo Arms. Next, I have, this is a bit of a flurry knife more than anything. This is it's called the Railroad Spike Skinning Knife. I got this from a website called Descended from Odin. It's a Viking type website, but yeah, it's been reforged from an old railway spike, and it's yeah, good for skinning. It's got that curved edge as well, which is ideal. But this is extremely large. I would probably only use this for very large animals, like deer or bigger. So that's that one. Right, so the next knife is probably my favourite knife. This is the Casström No.10. Casström again is another Swedish knife company. So yeah, this is a really good knife. It's really thick steel, and it's got what's called a full tang. So the handle, the blade runs the full length of the handle. That's called full tang. That increases strength. This is very good for heavier tasks, battening, splitting wood. Yeah, it's very good. Last of all, this is a bit of a beast. It's the K-Bar US Marine Corps knife. This is American, designed for the US Marine Corps, and it's a typical sort of commando Bowie knife. Bowie style blade with the straight edge and then the dipped curve at the bottom, at the front. So yeah, this is I use this for like hefty tasks as well. So those are my 4 larger knives. Okay, now I'm just going to go on to some extra miscellaneous knives that I've just tools. So the first one I'm going to show you is this little 1-inch blade. It doesn't even really have a make. I got this off Wish for like £3. But yeah, I keep this in my car. It's an everyday carry blade, which means it's legal size, underneath 3 inches. And this is very good. I just use it for little tasks, and I keep it in my car just in a case of emergency. So yeah, that's that. Next, I'll show you this little set here. This is a Viking sort of cutlery set that I had made. So yeah, it's got a traditional sort of knife and a food pick, which acts as a fork. But this knife is very good. It cuts through your steak like it's nothing. So I use that quite a lot. And the last little knife, piece of equipment here is a multi-tool. It's a Swiss Army knife. You've probably seen these before. I don't really use this camping much. The only sort of tool I ever really use is the screwdriver from it. I've also attached a bottle opener to it, and I get more use out of that than the actual Swiss Army knife. So yeah, that's that. When I'm camping though, I don't really bother taking a bottle opener, because for that I can use A, a knife, or B, an axe. Right, so those are all my knives. As you see, I've got quite a lot, but you can never have too many knives, and I want more.